Welcome back to the channel. If you've been paying any attention to the gaming space lately, you probably know that things have felt a little off. Between the massive budgets, the endless live service slop, and the crazy price hikes, it feels like the soul of gaming is slowly being drained away. We need to talk about the absolute biggest threat to the games we play, and this of course is generative AI. Now trust me guys, I understand the irony here, but it's a completely different situation when you're watching content that has AI in it for free as compared to buying a $70 game from a billion-dollar studio who has the resources and talent on their hands and shouldn't need to take these shortcuts. With that out of the way, let's address this slop fest going on. Over the last couple of years, AI went from being a background coding tool to something that executives are using to actively replace the talented humans who actually make our games. It is causing massive drama, ruining the quality of huge franchises, and sparking a massive war between the biggest digital storefronts on the internet. Let's start off with a controversy that basically set the community on fire recently. If you played Black Ops 7, you might remember the massive backlash Activision faced over some highly questionable artwork that made its way into the game. Players started noticing that some of the loading screens and calling cards looked incredibly weird. The most famous example was a zombie Santa Claus holding gobblegums. Players quickly zoomed in and noticed the classic hallmarks of generative AI mistakes: extra fingers, completely unnatural anatomy, and weird blending of textures. People were absolutely furious. You are paying $70 for a premium AAA blockbuster game from a multi-billion-dollar company, and they couldn't even be bothered to pay a real artist to draw a loading screen. After weeks of trying to ignore the community backlash, Activision finally had to update their Steam page and openly admit that they were using Gen AI tools to help develop in-game assets. And they are definitely not the only ones trying to cut corners. Ubisoft faced a similar wave of intense backlash when they proudly unveiled an AI tool called Ghostwriter. They pitched it as a way to automatically generate background dialogue and NPC barks. While Ubisoft tried to spin it as a tool to save writers' time, the actual developers and writers in the industry saw right through it. The pushback was immediate and severe. Writers argued that these so-called repetitive tasks are exactly how junior writers break into the industry and learn their craft. If you hand all the entry-level work to a machine, you completely destroy the career pipeline for the next generation of storytellers. But the executives in charge simply do not care. They are looking at AI purely as a way to cut costs and boost their profit margins. During a recent investor call, Electronic Arts CEO Andrew Wilson was practically bragging about how AI is at the core of their business now. He claimed that generative AI will make them 30% more efficient and reduce development time from months to mere days. Over at Square Enix, they announced plans to use AI to automate 70% of their quality assurance and debugging tasks by 2027. When CEOs talk about efficiency and automating tasks, what they are really talking about is eliminating human jobs. This brings us to the devastating human cost of this AI gold rush. The gaming industry has been bleeding talent. Between 2022 and early 2026, an estimated 45,000 people lost their jobs in the video game sector. While executives blame the post-pandemic economy, a huge part of this restructuring is about shifting resources toward AI. The incredibly talented people who bring these digital worlds to life, the concept artists, the 3D modelers, the voice actors, and the animators are being pushed out. And the ones who are lucky enough to keep their jobs are finding that their roles have completely changed. Instead of creating beautiful original art from scratch, many artists are being reduced to essentially acting as AI janitors. Their entire job is just cleaning up the messy, soulless slop generated by a machine to make it barely passable for a final release. The sentiment inside the industry is crashing. According to the 2026 State of the Game Industry report from the Game Developers Conference, over half of all developers now believe generative AI is having a negative impact on the industry. That is a massive jump from previous years. Furthermore, nearly 75% of students trying to enter the industry say they are terrified for their future job prospects. We are watching an entire generation of creative talent get discouraged and pushed away from gaming because corporations would rather feed prompts into a generator than pay a living wage to an artist. Because players are getting so fed up with seeing AI-generated garbage in their games, a massive debate erupted over how this content should be labeled, leading to a very public showdown between Steam and Epic Games. Valve, the company that owns Steam, actually did something very pro-consumer. They updated their store policies to require developers to explicitly disclose if their games use AI-generated content. If a developer uses AI for art, code, or sound, there is now a mandatory disclosure section right on the game's Steam page so customers know exactly what they are buying. It's a great move for transparency. But Tim Sweeney, the CEO of Epic Games, absolutely hated this. He took to social media and threw a massive fit, stating that Steam's AI disclosure labels made no sense because AI is going to be involved in nearly all future game production anyway. He even tried to mock the policy by saying, "Why stop at AI use? We could have mandatory disclosures for what shampoo brand the developer uses." The internet immediately dogpiled him, and rightfully so. Comparing the existential threat of AI replacing human artists to the brand of shampoo a developer uses is one of the most tone-deaf, out-of-touch statements a gaming executive has made in a very long time. It perfectly highlights the massive disconnect between the billionaires running these massive platforms and the actual gamers and developers who care about the artistic integrity of the medium. Thankfully, there is a silver lining to all of this corporate greed. As the AAA space becomes more obsessed with algorithmic efficiency, the indie gaming scene is pushing back hard. Independent developers are starting to wear their human-made art as a badge of honor. We are literally seeing studios put AI-free badges on their Steam pages and marketing materials. They are using it as a unique selling point to tell players, hey, real human beings poured their blood, sweat, and tears into this game. And players are responding to it. As consumers, we are naturally drawn to art that has a soul, a perspective, and a sense of human connection. You just cannot get that from a machine learning model that steals existing art and mashes it together. Ultimately, the gaming industry is at a major crossroads in 2026. The executives want to convince us that generative AI is the magical future of gaming, but all it has delivered so far is massive layoffs, weird-looking zombie Santas, and a loss of creative passion. If we want games to remain an incredible handcrafted art form, we have to support the studios that actually respect their artists. We have to speak with our wallets because that's the only power we have, and we absolutely must reject the AI slop being forced down our throats by companies that care more about efficiency graphs than making a genuinely fun game. I'm always curious to know what you guys think about all of this. Let me know down in the comments. With that said, please think twice when dropping $70 on your next game because some of these studios do not deserve your time or money. That's all for today, and I'll catch you all in the next one.